Good morning, guys. Welcome to Yoga with Liz. We will start in a wide-legged child's pose, bringing your big toes to touch and your knees wide. Really stretching your hands out, relaxing your hips onto your heels and your glutes. And start by just finding your breath, finding awareness in your practice. Maybe set an intention this morning. Our last week of classes in yoga before the new year, maybe set an intention to start off 2021. And then just breathe into some stillness. Stillness in the body and the mind. Starting to lengthen every inhale and lengthen every exhale. Soften through the shoulders, soften through the hips. And then walk your hands over to one side and really pull against that opposite hip. So if you're reaching out to the left, really pull back on the right. If you're reaching to the right, pull back on the left. Stretching out the right side body. And walk your hands back to center. Take a couple breaths here. And walk your hands over to the right. Again, really pull against your side body here, opening through the left. Softening down through the shoulders, relaxing the neck. And take your hands back to center. And start to walk your hands to your hips. Then bring your knees together. Find just an easy seated pose. You can always bring your hips underneath a block or a towel or maybe a pillow, whatever you have available. From here, inhale the arms up, reaching overhead, looking up at the hands, sending all your energy up, opening through the chest, opening up your heart. Exhale, pull it all in. Inhale, reach up, look up. Maybe send it back a little bit, opening into the spine. Exhale, back to heart center. Inhale, reach up, look up. Reach back. This time as you fold forward, out, stretch back to child's pose. Squeeze the core, reach up through the hands. Look back, reach back. Exhale, fold back over to child's pose. Take one more here, lifting, squeezing through the core, reach up through the hands. Maybe take that back bend. Exhale, back over to child's pose. From here, start to walk the hands forward and let the hips fall down into a cobra pose, maybe baby or king cobra. Softening through the shoulders, opening the fronts of the hips. Releasing any tension in the spine. And lower all the way down to the ground here. Keeping the hands about shoulder height. Start to bend into that right knee. Then take the right leg over to the left side. Keeping the hands where they are into a modified scorpion pose. Exhale, come back to center. Bend into the left knee. And send it over to the right side. Find this modified scorpion. Starting to warm up the back body here. Starting to move a little bit faster in this modified scorpion. Just flowing with your breath side to side. Doing 2 more on each side here. Finding your breath. Maybe stretching the leg out a little bit longer. 1 more each side. Keeping the chest firmly planted. And as you come back to center, outstretch the left arm. As you bend into the right knee, really send over the right, opening up that right hip, maybe gaze up. Finding a deeper expression of your scorpion. Come back to center. Stretch out the right hand, bend into the left knee, and send the left leg over, opening up that left hip, stretching into the right shoulder, shifting your gaze up, and come back to center. Then keep both hands back towards the shoulders, reach up for cobra, softening through the shoulders, opening up the chest. Exhale back down. Take the hands out wider than shoulder width and tend the fingers here. As you inhale, press up for angry cobra. So the ribs stay mounted onto your mat or the ground. Just lifting softly through the shoulders, down and back the spine. Exhale, release back down. Bring the hands back in. And send the hips back to child's pose with the knees together. Take one more deep breath here. And start to shift forward to curl the toes under and send it back to downward dog. Spending a couple breaths here. And on your next inhale, shift forward to high plank. Exhale, lower to chaturanga or to the mat. Inhale through to upward facing dog or cobra. If you're in upward facing dog, remember the tops of the feet stay on the mat and the thighs are lifted, really opening up the hips. Exhale, send it back into downward dog. Slowly walk the hands to meet the feet at the back of the mat and find a deep forward fold. You can bend the knees as much as you need to here. Keeping the thighs active, lifting up through the kneecaps. Then maybe just shift the weight back and forth between the toes and the heels. Just having a little bit of body awareness as you move. From here, halfway lift, find length of the spine. Exhale, fold a little deeper. You can even choose to take the hands behind the calves. My favorite modifications for forward folds. And as you inhale, rise up, arms overhead. Exhale through to heart center. Starting to come into our sun A here. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then start to walk your hands out to your downward dog. Finding some stillness or maybe some movement, pedaling out the heels, bending into each shoulder. Just finding whatever movement feels good in your body this morning, warming up your practice. Then find some stillness, look forward, bend the knees, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Arms come overhead. Exhale, back through to heart center. Taking our full sun A this time. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back into high plank. Lower to chaturanga. Inhale through to upward facing dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Hold here for 3 deep breaths. Again, finding some stillness, coming back to that intention you set. Doing all things that serve your mind and your body in a positive way this morning. On your next inhale, look forward, bend the knees, and step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, find length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, arms come overhead. Exhale, back through to heart center. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back, high plank. Lower to chaturanga. Inhale through to upward facing dog. Exhale, send it back, downward dog. Right away, look forward, bend the knees, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, arms overhead. Exhale, back through to heart center. One more here. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant the hands, step back, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale through to upward facing dog. Exhale, send it back, downward dog. Inhale, look forward, bend the knees. Step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Arms come overhead. Exhale, back through to heart center. Just speeding up our sun salutations sometimes, changing it up a little bit in your practice. Finding our sun B, a Namaskara B, sitting deep into your chair pose. You can bring the big toes to touch, heels slightly apart, or you can take the feet shoulder width apart. Lengthening down through your tailbone, almost like you're tucking under, really creating that deeper pelvic bowl here. Exhale, sit a little deeper. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to your high plank. Chaturanga through to upward facing dog. Exhale, back to downward dog. Reach the right foot back to your three-legged dog, keeping the hips square, and then step the right foot through the hands, through the left toes out. Reach up for warrior one. Exhale, right back down. Find your high plank. Down to your chaturanga. Through to upward facing. Back to downward facing. Reach the left foot up and back into your three-legged dog. Then step the foot forward, turn the right toes out. Reach up for warrior one. Exhale, right back down into your high plank. Through to your chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And back to downward dog. Inhale, look forward, bend the knees, and step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. As you inhale to stand, bend deep into your knees, back into your chair pose. Exhale through to heart center. One more sun B. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back, high plank. Lower to chaturanga. Through to upward facing dog, and back to downward dog. Reach the right foot back into three-legged, and then step the foot between the hands through the left toes out. Reach up for warrior one. Exhale, right back down. Find your high plank. Down to chaturanga, through to upward facing dog, and back to downward dog. Reach the left foot back into three-legged dog, then step it through the hands, turn the right toes out. Come up for warrior one. Exhale, right back down, find your high plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale through to upward facing dog. Exhale, back to downward dog. Inhale, look forward, bend the knees. Step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend into the knees, find your chair pose. Exhale, back to heart center. Feeling good and warm in the body. Sitting back into our chair pose. This time bring the feet shoulder width apart. Find a deep bend. Elongate your tailbone, lengthening through the spine. And again, soften down through the shoulders. Find your breath. Then exhale, sit a little deeper. Deep inhale. And exhale, sit a little deeper. Then roll back onto your sit bones into Navasana or boat pose. You can bend into the knees or straighten the legs out. Staying onto the sit bones, keeping the spine long here, activating the core. And then bend deep into the knees, maybe take a rock and come back to your chair pose. You can use your hands if you need to, but I encourage you to try this sequence without using your hands, really working your legs and your core. Again, the feet are shoulder width apart, finding your chair. Exhale, sit a little deeper. Exhale, a little deeper. And then slowly come onto the sit bones. Find your boat. 2 deep breaths here. And on your next inhale, start to rock forward back to your chair pose. Again, feet shoulder width apart. Do one more here. Exhale, sit a little deeper. Exhale, a little deeper. And slowly rock back to the sit bones, finding boat pose or Navasana. Then let's lower to low boat. Bringing the heels and the shoulders to a hover, flexing through the toes, even squeezing the glutes here. One more breath. Come back to boat. And then cross the feet over each other and make your way back to downward facing dog. From here, lift the right leg back and step it through the hands, plant the left knee down, come up for low lunge. Really letting the left hip stretch out, opening up into the quad even. I like to use low lunge a lot in my practice to kind of be aware of how tight my body is or how sore I'm feeling. Having a couple key consistent postures in your practice kind of helps you find that mind-body awareness. From here, plant the left hand down and circle back around to grab your left toes. Then here I want you to really open up into the body. So let that right knee fall out to the side, even open through that right shoulder. Really fan out the body. And then pull it back into center. Exhale, fan out. Inhale, back to center. One more. Exhale, fan out. Inhale, back to center. Drop that bottom leg and circle the right arm around to the inner part of your right foot. Prop the left knee up and find your lizard lunge. You can stay on the hands or maybe come down to the forearms. Just a couple breaths here. And maybe make some circles in one direction. By massaging out the hips and the hamstrings. Then maybe go the other way. Come back to your hands. Then open into Skandasana, or a deep side lunge. Stretching out and lengthening through the left leg and bending deep into that right knee. If your right heel comes up, I encourage you to come up to maybe here or even here, just wherever that right foot is planted firmly on your mat or the ground, making sure we protect our knees. From here, take your hands to center, straightening through both legs, kind of wide-legged forward fold. The hands can stay in the center. You can grab your ankles. Then maybe bend deep into the elbows. Stretching into our adductors or the inner thighs. One more breath here. And then turn the left toes or the right toes forward. Plant the right hand down and bend deep into the right knee. Reach the left arm overhead and coming into extended side ankle. Opening through the left side body, coming light onto the right hand. Working into the hips and the hamstrings. Then again here, really round that tailbone down and under so you lengthen through the entire spine. Creating that deeper pelvic bowl. And then circle the left hand down, coming back into our lizard lunge prep. And then swing the right foot back to come into high plank. And remember here, we like to shift up into the core over the wrists. Stay nice and light in the toes. Pulling all of our energy into the center of the body. Take 2 more breaths in your plank. And on your next exhale, start to lower to chaturanga. Inhale through the upward facing dog. Exhale back to downward dog. Inhale the left leg back into your 3-legged dog. And step the left foot between the hands. Drop that right knee down. Inhale, reach up for low lunge. Again, when we go into the other side, not having any expectations for this side of the body, treating it like a completely new sequence. Noticing if one side feels tighter than the other. Maybe the side feels more open. And really just sink into the hips. from here, plant the right hand on the mat, circle the left hand around, and grab the right toes or the right foot. As you inhale, stay to center. Exhale, fan it open. Reaching that left shoulder back, opening up the left knee and the hip. And inhale, come back to center. Exhale, open up. Inhale, back to center. Just feeling that rotation of the stretch in your quad and your hips. Open one more time. Inhale, back to center. Plant the left hand down on the inside of the left foot. Open or prop up that right knee. Coming into your lizard lunge. Again, you can choose to come down to the forearms, or you can stay on the hands. And then maybe start to make a couple circles in one direction. Just kind of massaging up the hips and the quads. And then circle the other way. Come back to the hands and start to stretch out that right leg, flexing through the right toes, bending deep into the left knee, finding your skandasana on the other side. Again, maybe you come up a little bit higher so your left heel can sink all the way on the ground. And then coming back through to center, finding a wide-legged forward fold. Maybe the hands come to your ankles. One more breath here. And then turn the left toes forward, plant the left hand down. As you bend deep into the left knee, reach the right arm overhead, opening up into extended side angle on the other side. Coming a little bit lighter into the left hand, using the side body to help hold and support the rest of your body. Then circle the right hand down to the mat, back into our lizard lunge prep. And bring the left foot back into your high plank. Again, shifting the weight over the wrists, coming light onto the toes, pulling up through the core. Having a solid plank will be very helpful when we get into arm balances and inversions. And just having a good daily health, aiding in the spine health. Having a strong core is just the foundation of so many of our movements in our day-to-day lives. From here, lower to chaturanga. Inhale through to upward facing dog. Exhale, set it back, downward dog. From here, cross the feet through and come back to our boat pose. Again, you can bend into the knees and flex the feet, or you can start to lengthen out the legs. Holding here, maybe sitting a little bit back further so you start to shake a little, challenging the core, finding some new strength in the body. And then drop the left leg down and pull the right leg up to you, stretching out that right leg, pull back the side of it. You can even choose to grab the foot and pull it up towards you. Flex through the left foot, keeping the left leg active. From here, even if you have the foot, the heel, or maybe lower down on the leg, release your grip with the right hand and open towards the side, finding a little bit of the twist within your stretch. Sitting up nice and tall. Maybe pull the leg closer to you. Then come back to center. Then lift the left leg up, come back into your boat pose, whether your knees are bent or straight. Lengthening through the spine, activating the core. Then drop the right leg down, pull the left leg into you, stretching out the back side of the leg. Again, maybe you grab the foot, maybe you just grab the calf. Then release your grip with the left hand and open up to the side. The spine long, finding a little bit of a gentle twist to rotate through the shoulder while still stretching out the leg. Come back to center, pick the right leg up, back into your boat pose. Then then coming back to this posture we did last week, pulling both legs in towards you. Maybe you're slightly higher than your boat pose, or maybe you really start to pull both legs into you. Staying firm on the sit bones, pulling the core up and in to allow the space for your legs to close in towards the body. As you inhale, find length, create the space, and exhale, pull the legs in closer. Last breath here. Then rest the legs long on the mat, keeping the fingertips facing the toes. Start to lift up in the hips for a reverse plank. Opening up the whole body, adding some strength, squeezing the glutes. Whole body is very engaged in this posture. Exhale, release back down. Inhale, reach up and forward fold or Paschimottanasana. Then walk the hands back past the hips, keeping the fingertips facing the toes, just slightly behind you. And as you inhale, lift up for reverse plank. Maybe squeeze the hips up a little higher. 2 more breaths. And exhale back down. Inhale, reach up and forward fold, Paschimottanasana. I like to choose to keep the spine long, really flex through the toes. If you'd like a little bit more of a passive version of your forward fold, you can bend deep into the knees and round over. Do one more reverse plank, walking the hands back past the hips, fingertips facing the toes. Inhale, reach up, reverse plank. Really squeeze the whole body, open up the front side. Exhale, back down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold or Paschimottanasana. From here, walk the hands back to the hips and bring the soles of the feet together into Baddha Konasana or bound ankle pose. You can use the hands to help open up the feet, assisting the hips to open up as you roll the feet open. Or you can gently even push the elbows along the calves, keeping the spine somewhat engaged by lengthening all the way through the crown of the head. Then crossing the feet over one another, making your way to a forward fold. Just stretching out the whole body, releasing any tension in the spine. It's not often we choose where we end up finishing our practice standing. Sometimes it creates a new type of energy left after your practice. Inhale, reach up, look up, arms overhead. Exhale back through to heart center. Thanks for joining me this morning. The light and honor in me honors the light and honor